Hey you, I'm Jules. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about the 10 things that nobody told me about my body type that if I had learned would have saved me a lot of time and a lot of headache, a lot of questionable fashion choices, and it probably would have given me a healthier body image. Body image is a sensitive topic. Please use your best discretion when watching this video. The first thing I want to talk about is what is your body type? Now, I feel like the one that we're always talking about, the one you take the quiz in like 17 magazine when you're 14 is, do you have an hourglass, do you have apple, do you have pear? And it's talking about how your shoulders and your hips and your waist kind of all play within each other. And the thing is with that is your horizontal body shape. But what no one told me is that we also have a vertical body shape that takes into account all kinds of things besides just your shoulders, waist, and hips. And kind of the cool thing about your vertical body shape is that it doesn't matter how much you weigh. I feel like with the horizontal ones, if one is bigger than the other, it means you're slightly overweight in one section versus another. But actually, vertical body shape has nothing to do with your weight. It is purely how does your body break up vertically in a line as if it were going straight through you, not how much you're taking up width-wise. Personally, when it comes to styling, I think your vertical body shape is more helpful and it's more encompassing to everything that you're wearing, your entire outfit, your entire look, versus just a detail here and there. The second thing that nobody told me is that not every body type fits comfortably into a category. So even when it comes to vertical body types, which are long torso, short legs, short torso, long legs, and kind of equal / balance / proportional, there are so many different variations between all of those that you can technically classify as one, but maybe those differences are more subtle. And so that's why you can sometimes struggle with, well, I don't know why this doesn't work on my body type, because to be honest, it's just a small difference here and there that to you is a big deal, but maybe to others isn't as big of a deal. But also when talking about your horizontal body types, you might have slightly broader shoulders, just slightly, but it's not so much that it's like automatically, yes, you have broad shoulders. Maybe it's just a slight difference. And while the labels can sometimes be helpful, I think they can also be limiting in thinking that everyone fits perfectly within one when we don't. The third thing that no one told me is that I would never look like this. Not because I didn't eat right or I didn't exercise, but literally because my body's not built that way. And yes, you hear all about, oh, your abs are based off of what you eat and your genetics and how you work them out. There's all kinds of things that go into your abs and your waist. But something that they don't tell you goes into your abs and waist, your skeleton. Like literally your skeletal structure determines how much space you have to house the abs and genetics and food and everything that go into your waist. Some of our skeletons are longer, some of them have a lot more room, and others of us, like myself, have a lot less room even though we're not technically petite. And to be honest, yes, sometimes that can be frustrating to know I can never look like that. But it's also a little bit freeing too, to let go of that pressure and just say, you know what? I'm just gonna look how I want to look for my body and be happy with that. At least it's helped me come to terms with a lot of the things that I was insecure about and realizing like, oh, actually that's what makes my body unique, which is kind of cool, and I'm gonna move on. Now, when it comes to looking at your vertical proportions and your vertical body type, one thing that really is kind of the crux of all of it is how much of your body is taken up by your legs. So whether you have long legs or short legs, regardless of your height, I cannot tell you how many comments I get of people talking about their short legs because they're petite, but technically you can have long legs and be petite too. It's all in relation to your body, which is again, why I like your vertical body shape more than your horizontal body shape, because you are your own measuring stick. But I think one of the key issues people run into when measuring their legs is looking just at the inseam. And whenever you look up how to measure your legs, it's always measure your inseam, measure your inseam. And that can be helpful in some ways, but I don't find it to be helpful in always. I think knowing the inside vertical of your legs is helpful, but also how it measures on the outside, how much do your legs actually take up in their entirety of your body, which includes your hips and the rise. That to me is a better indicator of how much your legs are taking up of your entire body rather than just the inside, because you could have a short inseam but still have long legs for your height. And it's because your hips are just taking up more of that space. Now, sometimes your hips are considered part of your torso and sometimes they're not. We will be going into all of that a little bit later. Now, kind of along the same lines, like when you go and buy a pair of pants, there's an inseam, right? There's an inseam measurement. You could buy them short, regular, longer. There's all kinds of different measurements, right? And it's not like a trendy thing. It's just, that's your measurement. Now, I think that should be the same when it comes to rises. I feel like the rise of your pants is more of a trend rather than just simply a measurement of what works on your body type. My point being is because I have long legs, but I cannot pull off high-rise pants. The reason for that is because the high-rise on my pant encroaches on my short torso and it makes it appear really short. And that high-rise comes right onto my rib cage and it's just all out of proportion and I feel really insecure and I don't feel like the pants fit and then I start crying and it's just kind of this kind of snowball effect of why I don't like to buy pants. But if someone would have told me to treat my rise like my inseam and just buy the rise that I want to look like, then that would have saved me a lot of hassle. And if rises were sold in the same way inseams were, I could find pants that actually fit and maybe I wouldn't cry so much in fitting rooms. So kind of along that same line, if you are crying in fitting rooms or if you're feeling discouraged, if you're feeling like just pants look terrible on you, it might just be because the rise that's on trend right now just might not fit your body type well. It would be as if a really long inseam was on trend, but it didn't fit because your legs were shorter. The convenient thing about inseams is that they're easy to get tailored, while rises are very difficult to be tailored. Now, the other thing that nobody told me that was like groundbreaking for me was that the color of what you choose to wear of an item matters more, slightly more, than the style or the cut. And not just the color, but also how that color contrasts with your skin and with the rest of your outfit. Really, the reason why something might not be working the way you want it is purely because of the color and the contrast versus the actual piece. So one of my favorite ways to illustrate this is with necklines. We see tons about necklines, especially when it comes to what kind of shoulders you have, what kind of waist you have, what kind of neck you have. And I find that some of that stuff doesn't always work well, but it can work well if I change the color. So for me, I really like high neck things because I have a short torso and it elongates my torso, but you can only really tell I'm wearing a high neck something if the color is darker than my skin tone. Otherwise, if I choose a light color like my skin tone, then it just kind of all blends in and it doesn't really matter as much. Typically, and I don't always follow it like a hard fast rule, but with V-necks, I like to go with a lighter base, and with higher necks, I like to go with a darker base just because it creates that contrast that gets the effect I want. You can also see this with dresses and picking out what outerwear to wear with a dress because the color of that outerwear matters just as much, if not slightly more, than the length of it, the style of it. It could be the perfect length, the perfect style, but if it's the wrong color, it will hit wrong. And this is why we all love neutrals, is so that we can always have something to grab. And so on a similar note, what I wish someone would have told me way earlier on was how much your perception of something matters by what's adjacent to it. So the length of my neck can look longer or shorter based off of the neckline of my shirt, how I'm wearing my hair, my face shape, how I've done my makeup to make my face shape look. But my feet don't really impact my neck. It kind of does, and it kind of plays into my entire vertical proportion. But in general, when I want to make my feet look more proportionate to the rest of my body, I'm not going to fix my neck. I'm going to fix things that are near my legs. But it's not always fixing my feet. So just in the same way, if there's a particular part of your body that maybe you're a little bit insecure about, or maybe you wish was just slightly different, don't just look at that part of your body. Look at the areas around it and how they're impacting how it's perceived. The other thing nobody told me is that there's gonna be a lot of experts that have opinions on how you should style your body. But until you've lived in those shoes and know how it feels to work with certain angles or certain proportions, you can't fully understand it. Yes, you can style something to make it look like it's imbalanced and in proportion, but if it's imbalanced and in proportion, but it doesn't feel authentically you, because the person who styled it doesn't fully understand, like hasn't walked literally in your shoes and how that feels, and what are going to be the areas that you want to accentuate or minimize, it's always going to feel a little off. Take that expert advice, take it with a grain of salt. If you're like me and all the expert advice I read about my short torso, long leg body, it's really frustrating and you feel like everything that you like is not made for your body, which is why I like to make videos about making things work for my body type, because I'm really passionate about it. So if you've liked this video so far, make sure to leave it a like and subscribe because I do lots of content like this. And what nobody told me, because frankly, social media wasn't a thing when I was a kid until I was an older kid / teenager / college. We are constantly being fed images of new trends that go out within weeks. We're constantly seeing new ways to style things. There are so many people on Instagram, on YouTube, on any kind of platform like TikTok. And what nobody told me at the start of all this is that styling advice isn't a one size fits all. Like, I can see and appreciate how someone has styled something on their own body, but to be honest, none of it may translate to mine. And there can be a point in that where that's frustrating because I want that look, but how do I make it translate to my body if some of the qualities of that outfit that I like on her just don't work on me, because we have completely different bodies. And we're gonna make completely different recommendations on clothes that we like and clothes that we don't like. But instead, we're all going out there looking at the aesthetic and the style of something, which is great. I think that's great for inspiration. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be following people, but I'm saying that a lot of the people that you may be following might not have a body type that's like yours. And so if you're following all of their styling advice to a T, your body type might be the reason that you're not quite feeling like it's working on you. And honestly, that's where style can become challenging and frustrating and fun and exciting. That's sort of the beauty in it, but it's also where so many people find frustration in it. And it honestly just boils down to all styling advice doesn't work for all people. You can't just read a couple blog articles, a couple articles online or in a magazine and think that it's going to automatically apply to you with no editing at all. I put this one in because I have been told this multiple times and I've ignored it for years. And so in case I'm not the only one, I just want to remind you that you are your toughest critic. You are the one who notices little things here and there that you might not like, but no one else is really paying attention. I notice when I'm wearing some high-rise jeans that are an inch too high for my comfort level. Nobody else really does. So I try to see learning more about my body type as something that's empowering, as a way for me to take control of how I style myself and how I feel about myself, because I have the knowledge to do what I want and create the look that I want. But trust me, it's taken a long time to get to that place. But if you want to learn more about your body type, I have a whole video all about your torso and your vertical body shape that I'll link here. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.